All right, welcome back to the Run.down post-game show here on the Strickland YouTube channel. If you're listening to this the day after, Strickland Podcast Network. Knicks lose to no surprise to the Brooklyn Nets, 122-115. Joel Embiid once said, "It is not a rivalry. They always kick our ass." That can be one way to describe this rivals week matchup between the Knicks and the Nets. I literally cannot remember the last time we beat the Nets,
December 2019.
and wow, it's been for almost 4 years. Um, yeah. Um, I mean, the Knicks came out with zero urgency, I would say. Um, Awful first half. They start to pick things up in the third quarter at the end, especially thanks to RJ Barrett and Hartenstein, surprisingly, which we'll get into. But yeah, I mean, the next day they made a valiant effort to come back. It was
A fake
clutch,
comeback of the highest proportions.
just classic Knicks things of fake comebacks. But there's a lot to discuss. I was thinking to myself as this game was going on. I was like, what am I going to talk about on post game? And lo and behold, the Knicks provided plenty of things to talk about in the fourth quarter. But yeah, I mean, we never beat the Nets, so like I didn't even expect to win this game. Like even when the comeback was happening, I was like, yeah, this is gonna be one of those games where we fall short nastily. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is a classic Knicks versus Nets game. It follows the same script every time. It's one of their guys going off. We fall behind. We make a comeback. We lose towards the end of the game. Um, But yeah, I mean, for us, who led the way for us? It was Jalen Brunson with 26 points. He was followed by RJ Barrett, who had 24 points. A lot of those points coming in that third quarter where he showed a display of I would like to say patience and poise in the post, taking advantage of mismatch opportunities, which is something that we don't see from him often. Not just the post ups, but like the poise in the post ups. But yeah, he was very patient in trying to get his buckets in the paint. I really wish that he would have at least taken probably a little bit more threes, just because I felt like at a certain point in the game we were trading twos for threes, and I really don't like that style.
Yep.
Um, but
And
it,
like
it
Doris
was
Burke
working for him. But yeah,
and like Doris Burke's like, oh, they're beating the Nets in points per paint, and like that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing. Like they cannot keep trying to get away with trading twos for threes because you're just not going to win on that variance. And if you're not blocking the three, then at that point you have to go for it. Yeah, I'm just like, it's just frustrating seeing how little this team wants to pull. Speaking of pulling, like Quentin Grimes, man, I think a lot of the conversation needs to start with like Quentin Grimes and 3-point variance because Quentin Grimes is supposed to be the shooter of the group. Quentin Grimes is, I think, a lot of us would say the best shooter in the starting lineup. I know Julius is going off. I know Brunson is shooting 40% from three. Quentin Grimes, I think a lot of us would believe is the best shooter on the team. He needs to shoot more threes. Uh, there were multiple times in the first half where he just did not want to take shots. And when he did want to take shots, he turned it into attempts at the rim that weren't even attempts at the rim. They just kind of went to like they tried either double passes to Jericho Sims, or it was a chance to like take a really bad shot. Like he tried to go for a dunk, he missed it. Um, he needs to shoot more threes, man. Like he needs to shoot more threes. I don't care if they go in. I don't care if they come out. Like they they need to start launching. Like when Julius is throwing you the ball of the DHO, you need to take that shot. Like 9 times out of 10, you need to take that shot. And if you don't take that shot, okay, turn it into a closeout, but you cannot think closeout first. I think he's just so obsessed with getting to the closeout that it's hurting the team because then when he doesn't get the optimal look, he's just pitching back out to Brunson. Like it's a grenade back to Brunson or a grenade back to Randall, and then it's a situation where like there's 7 seconds in the shot clock, and now you have to try to do something out of nothing, and it's like you cannot run an offense like that. Your shooter cannot be so timid to make shots. You look at Royce O'Neal, like he's taking the shot. You look at Yuta Watanabe, he's taking the shot. Seth Curry taking the shot. Like you have the space, you have the clearing, like you have a screen, you have open space, and you're a good ass shooter. You should be taking those shots. But instead, he wants to just keep getting to his closeout, and it's really frustrating for the offense. I'm not done. I'm not done. I have more, but we're gonna get to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you all the way there. I mean, he's got to shoot. You're a shooter. That's your role on this team. Like you're 3 and D. If you're not providing the three, then the defense is useless. Um, and I mean, even then, I mean, I'm not gonna kill him for getting fried by Kyrie in the fourth quarter because like
Yeah.
no matter who was on Kyrie, they were gonna get baked. Maybe you could argue quickly would have done a little bit better, maybe, but like I really didn't think there was going to be any difference, honestly. Like when Kyrie has it going like that, the way he does, then that's just what's going to happen. Like he's going to go off, and it didn't help that because my game plan from the jump, I tweeted, I was like, do not let Kyrie go off. Just no, don't let. No, I said I don't care about Kyrie cooking. Just don't let all the other guys get going. And the one thing that the Knicks did was let everybody else get going, and then Kyrie cooked this in the fourth. That's the worst type of game plan to have coming into a game against a team like this. They don't have like all their supporting stars. It's just Kyrie with a bunch of role players. Like, but yeah, Grimes, he just has to shoot. Like that's it. Like enough. Like teams have scouted him where that drive and dish shit is useless. Like pack it up. You got to add some wrinkles, something like, but that is not cutting it anymore. Like it was cute the first like 10-15 games when like it was catching teams off guard, but like teams, they're like, all right, come to the paint. We gonna steal that shit, nigga. Like that's it. Like we gonna take it.
Yeah, man. It's just it needs to change. We could talk about I think we could also talk about like RJ as well. I think RJ had a really strong offensive game. Defensively, I don't want to talk about it, but yeah, it's good to see him scoring the basketball as well as he has been. I think that was his major weakness coming into the league. Not coming into the league, but coming into the season was his efficiency. And he took 16 shots. He made 9 of them. He took 5 threes. He made 3 of them. Free throw percentages was solid too. Again, I would like to see him take more threes. I would like to see him pass more out of drives. He had it going tonight though, so like you can't really get too mad at it. But I would love to see him, go for, instead of 5 threes, take 8. Even if you go 3 of 8, that's still 37% from 3. So I would have liked to see that. I just think this team, on a whole, just needs variance, man. Like, for all the shit we give Fournier, and for all the shit we give Alec Burks last year, even though he didn't really deserve a lot of it just due to his role, like, he needed, like, they are missing, like, Fournier would go for like 6 threes, Alec Burks would go for like 5 threes. Multiple games. We've seen it. And they don't have that this year, aside from Randall going up for like 5 to 8 threes. They don't have that guy who's just going to go off. Brunson doesn't take threes. RJ is reluctant to take as many threes as he did in like year 2. Remember like year 2 when he was taking like 11 threes regularly. So he's not confident, and it hurts this team's variance. It hurts this team's offense really because they're trading 2s for 3s. But yeah, like he had a really strong game. I'm very happy with the result ultimately. 24 points. You can't get mad at it. I would just like to see more defense. But then again, I feel like the entire starting unit didn't really have much defense going for them. So can't knock him too heavily. But yeah, strong game for me. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I especially like the third quarter. One thing that I've been dying to see since like last year was more RJ Barrett post ups. It would have been nice to see it more in like a small ball setting because I feel like when he's posting up, when like Hartenstein or even Sims are in the paint, I feel like it kind of like it feels kind of useless in a way. not really, well, not useless, but it feels like it just makes his job harder because like there's going to be another person like lurking over in term instead of like when he was doing it towards last year, he had Obi on the court more with him, and that kind of opened up that spacing for him. Um, but yeah, I did like seeing the RJ post ups. I thought he operated with great patience on his post ups, and like even some drives like that drive really early in the game to pass to the corner to Julius. That was something that we usually don't see that often from him, and a lot that's what a lot of fans have been asking him to do on his drives more. So that was good to see as well. But yeah, I thought he had a pretty strong game as well. Um, I wish that he got into the game sooner. And we could talk about that fourth quarter where the team actually made it really close and really interesting. Um, I mean, if the only reason why I tweeted this out is because I know Thibs is not going to go small. So I was like, if you're going to take out, like, if you're going to bring RJ back in, take out Grimes instead of IQ because IQ is just doing like
Yeah, I have
literally
no,
everything out there
I have
on both
no
ends.
idea, no idea why the hell he took out IQ for like I think it was RJ. It was RJ.
Hmm.
Also, that weird substitution pattern where like RJ Barrett is not coming in until like 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I don't get that. Like I would have just closed with that lineup. RJ Barrett didn't really do anything for you down the stretch, and it's not to say he had a bad game. He just didn't take any shots, and that lineup cut it to three. Like I would have just kept going. Grimes had hype. Grimes was getting hyped. Um, you know, like Quickly was playing really good defense. Quickly hit two big shots to cut the lead into. I just don't understand why to put RJ Barrett back in. Like that just felt like a bit of a reach, and it kind of felt like, well, I need to get RJ Barrett back in. Um, I don't understand why the hell Sims was in the game. Sims did nothing all game. Uh,
I thought he was all right. I thought the second half he definitely picked it up on the rebounding at least.
I uh, I
I mean,
just
defensively, he still isn't like where we want him to be.
yeah.
And like the drop off from Mitch is going to be obviously huge, just because like what Mitch has done cannot be really replicated by anyone on the roster. So
Yeah, and he had 5 offensive rebounds, but I feel like I didn't feel them. Um, my whole thing is like Sims is great. He's a third string center. You can't get too mad at him. But the fact that like in a situation like that, you need to be able to like honestly, I would have closed like I would have put in RJ. If I'm putting in RJ, I would have taken out Sims. Put Randall at the 5, RJ at the 4, Grimes at the 3, have your 5 best players available to you, and a small ball lineup because it's not like Nick Claxton's going to do anything significant to you anyway. I get he had a lot of points, but like you're not beating Nick Claxton with Jericho Sims. You might as well.
yeah, I mean that I would have done the same exact thing. My only thing is that I know Thibs is never going to go small, in situations like that unless like absolutely forced to by like foul trouble and injuries. But yeah, I mean, I would have definitely gone small with Randall at the 5. Um, but it's not gonna happen. So
Yeah, I was just so frustrated down the stretch of that game because they could have won that game if they just gave an ounce of a shit early and they just weren't
yeah,
playing out of a hole. And that kind of seems to be a theme of a lot of the losses where it's just like they dig themselves into a hole, they manage to like get themselves back into it, and then it's too late. And then like they all the energy that they use to get back into it, they end up wasting it trying to protect their lead or get back into it late in the game. And it's frustrating.
yep, it is very frustrating. Deuce.
That's like that half court shot. That was the high of Deuce's season, and it didn't even count. Um, it was good. Like the defense wasn't. I mean, like the defense wasn't impressive, but mainly that's because like it was Kyrie Irving. I can't get mad at him not being able to stop Kyrie Irving. But the offense is dreadful. They cannot afford to have somebody who gives that little offensively unless other guys have it going. Uh, I do think you are facing a situation where he needs to be upgraded coming into after the deadline. I just, yeah, like they need to. I think Deuce is a good player. I think he will have an arc where he's able to do more. But for this team, and right now in this rotation, he's lacking, and they cannot afford to punt those offensive minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Deuce isn't really giving us anything offensively. Like every time he's open in the corner, I'm like, this is a brick. Let's try to get the offensive rebound, guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, as soon as Deuce shoots, you might as well just run back on defense. Honestly, like get a head start because like it's off. He's not giving you anything offensively. The defense is, it's nice or whatever, but like, what does it really mean in the grand scheme of things if you cannot hit a single shot? Like, the team has to make a trade. I'm not saying go out there and give 3 first round picks for OG and Nobi, but the team has to do something to bolster the bench. Like, you can't keep sacrificing. Like, you can't keep punting the bench minutes with Deuce McBride out there, because when the starters when someone like Julius doesn't have like a 30-point explosion, points need to be made back up somewhere. Um, and
Yeah, and that's
IQ can only do so much. And shout out to Hartenstein today, providing a little bit of backup there with the bench. He had a solid stretch, I would say. Towards the end of the third quarter and the beginning of the fourth. Provided 8 points. But yeah, I mean, it's basically IQ by himself out there on the bench
yeah. Also, yeah. Again, once again, shout out to Hardenstein. He had a really solid game. I think
on
that's
both
something.
ends.
I really thought he should probably like if you were going to do this whole play it big, like Hartenstein should have did one of them like 12 minute shifts because Sims just gave you nothing. And yeah, like back to the Deuce point, I just like they just can't afford it. They cannot afford to have such a limited player playing those minutes because his offense is non-existent and the shots that he's taking like they're not effective and he's still a developing player but like at this point you need to be able to sacrifice development because you're in a playoff race.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. All right, let's get to everyone's favorite part of these shows before we head into comments. So definitely shout out to everyone that's already in the stream. Shout out to those leaving comments. Definitely leave your thoughts on today's game. Any questions you guys might have. Um, yeah. All right. 4 NFL teams, 2 conference championship games, and only a few more shots to win big on the playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get 200 in free bets instantly. Not a new customer. You can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped up same game parlays. Take your shot at an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. Um, which game do you think is going to be the best game between the two games?
I would say that it's probably going to be the AFC Championship. It's Burrow versus Mahomes. Even hobbled Mahomes is giving you a show. So two high-powered offenses versus like just I think the NFC Championship could be a lot more defensively based. So I like seeing touchdowns. I don't care about defense.
Agree. Agree. I mean, that I feel like that 49ers Eagles game is going to be gritty game, a gritty game
It'd be a
because
snooze fest.
oh man. But yep, we will see what happens. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TBPN. New customers can bet just $5 on the conference championships and get 200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and other restrictions apply. See show notes or show description for details. All right, let's get to some comments. Um, so Cactus Shack says, well, this is a new name. Welcome to the stream. The sun will rise in the west and set in the east before the Knicks beat the Nets. Kyrie is inevitable. He owns our poverty franchise. Wish we had a non-weirdo Kyrie on the Knicks to match. That would be like the anti-Kyrie. But yeah, I mean, the Nets beating us is inevitable. I said it every post game leading up to this game. I was like, that's an auto L. Like that's a scheduled loss. And I think it was like Schwinn that said like we can beat them. And I was just like,
Yeah, I thought so too, and yeah,
I'm telling y'all, the Nets, they got our number. It don't matter who's on the court. They will always beat our heads in.
I have been humbled in the way that I didn't think I was going to be humbled.
I mean, last game we played against them, we had Edmund Sumner cooking us. Like anything is possible when we face the Nets. Like
Yeah, but
literally anything.
I'm thinking, the team has found their groove. I'm thinking, Grimes is in the lineup and
It don't matter.
everything.
We could be on our way to like 70. We could be on our way to like 74-8. If we run into the Nets, we getting smoked. I don't care. Like that's
Yeah,
just the number they have on us.
yeah, and they be taking that game personal as hell too for whatever reason. Like dudes be getting like I know Ben Simmons ain't playing, but like oh my god, not to mention that whole Ben Simmons streak still stands. Like God, we in hell against that team.
It's ridiculous. It is honestly ridiculous. Um, yeah, I mean, we and like literally, there's nothing we could do in that fourth quarter when he had it going. Like we didn't have anyone that could like match him with like ISO, like pull up threes, fadeaway threes. Like we had no one that could do all that shit on the court. Like, oh man, it just shows you how like even like we do have like Julius and Brunson playing well. We got IQ and RJ playing well. Like even then, we still have a long way to go when it comes to like fourth quarter, like clutch shot making versus like the best of the best players in the league. Like
Yep.
that moment truly humbled Knicks fans and probably the Knicks themselves.
I know Julie's been thinking, player of the week, about to go off crazy. Like Ben Simmons not playing, and then Royce O'Neal gave him business. Nasty. That's a nasty day.
I mean, shit. I mean, Royce O'Neal, you had Seth Curry, you had
So
Joe Harris.
Royce O'Neal has been ass this year, and somehow decided to turn back the clock against us, man. Like Utah Watanabe going off feels like, oh my,
Didn't feel good.
Who didn't go off this game? Dude? Like everybody on the team went off.
It was like literally as soon as I saw a shot go up by them, I was like, yeah, that's cash.
Yeah,
like that's going in.
Like you saw it too. You're just like, oh my god. And every time they cut the lead, it was like, oh well, they're gonna hit another one. Great. Like everybody went off against us. When's the last time in an NBA game you could say that like everybody went off?
I mean, for the Knicks, I would say the last time we could say that was like, them years where we was hitting all them threes on those teams in like the 2012, 2011, 2013 years. Those type of games. Good old days. Good old days. Now we gotta like take a guessing game. We gotta play like Russian roulette of who's gonna be good for the Knicks tonight. All right. Let's go. R&R, not R&R, but RR says, not entirely upset about this game with the absurd threes that they were making.
Dude, you should be even more upset. They couldn't defend the three.
Yeah, I mean, you should be upset at least that like they made it close enough where it reminds you that the first quarter, them being so unserious, is like what basically held them back. Because like once they got things rolling in that fourth quarter, especially when IQ was like making shit happen like everywhere, like it just reminded you like, yeah, man, if they come out in that first quarter. Also, to go back to the first quarter, how does the team have that bad of a first quarter and Thibs still waits 8 minutes to put in a sub? Like his brain is just like functioned to be so static. I don't get it.
It just let them cook. Like he does not deviate from his rotation patterns. You know when you're coming in, you know when you're coming out, and it's like, dude, sometimes you just need a jolt. Like, and this team had no jolt.
Like to go that long in that quarter for how the team is playing and not want to inject like at least IQ in there for some juice sooner is wild to me. But like I should not be surprised because of the coach that we have. Like
Yeah, like you know, IQ's coming with 4 minutes left in the half or in the quarter. You know, Obi Toppin's come in with like less than a minute left in the quarter. Like you know, RJ's coming out first. Like you know the first sub, you know the second sub. Like you know the rotation. I know the rotation, and that should not be the thing. That should not be. Me as a fan should not know the rotation.
yeah, it just shows how predictable um the Knicks are. Sadly. All right. Let's see. Ace Bouchard says ultimately they just didn't take this game seriously enough to win. Started to care in the fourth, but it was too late. Yeah, I mean, I would say they started to carry even sooner than that. Like the back half of the third quarter, that's when they
Yeah,
really started to like really amp up the pressure on both ends. At that and like the way that they're playing, like you just the way the Nets were making shots, you just can't afford to like be so unserious for that long because you just know like it's going to be a freaking uphill climb after that.
yeah. It's like you cannot afford to put yourselves in holes that deep, especially when you don't have the shooting to make it work. Like if they had the ability to like win in the shootout, I'd be more confident in them winning that game, but they don't. So that's what makes it even tougher.
Yeah. Um. All right. Let's see. Carlo Hendricks says, it's just so frustrating that Obi refuses to play Obi more minutes. He can't keep getting away with this. I
I
mean,
don't.
tonight I really wouldn't have been that upset if like I wasn't really that upset with Obi's minutes. Um, I mean, I get going small against the Nets. Um, but yeah.
I don't care about Obi's minutes, dude. I don't care. I'm sorry. Like even if your idea is like we should go small, like the four in that lineup should be RJ. Like the best small lineup on the team doesn't even have Obi in it. The I don't like Obi Toppin did nothing. He passed up a wide open three to Deuce McBride. That was the highlight of Obi Toppin's game. He missed a bunny, a wide open bunny at that when he was streaking down the paint, which also talks to the fact that like he's not as good of a finisher as we think he should be. He was a
He should dunk those plays. Like honestly, he should have dunked them. Like he
His
could
problem is
have.
like he's frail, he's brittle. Like he can't go up the way that he should be going up as a 6'9", 220 person, but like he doesn't play like he's 6'9", 220. He plays smaller than he actually is. And when he's in the half court, he doesn't really have the strength to like go up and power through and finish over guys. So yeah, like I think the writing's on the wall for Obi at this point, man. Like he's just not that good. Like maybe he finds it on his next team, but like his pathway to being a very good rotation player is through his shooting, and his shooting is low volume and inconsistent. So I mean, I'm not gonna get mad when he's not playing minutes because he didn't deserve minutes tonight. They didn't. He didn't. There was nothing that happened with him on the court that you're like, oh wow, Obi Toppin needs to play more minutes. And that's the problem. Like he is a four who doesn't play like a four. And you can say, oh, we'll play Obi at the three, but like there are better threes on the roster, there are better fours on the roster, and realistically,
Better
Randall.
threes.
I mean, RJ, I take Grimes three over Obi. Like,
I mean, he's gonna keep playing like this. I don't know.
man, stop. I don't care how much Grimes is struggling. Like, I will still take his defense over Obi Toppin's, whatever. So I think that's what's kind of Matt where I'm like, where is he going to get minutes from unless you're just trying to manufacture minutes for him? Because realistically, unless he has it going, he doesn't really deserve more than like 12 minutes a night.
Um, but I do understand Carlos qualms with like at least not trying to go small um in versus the Nets. I mean, whatever, Nick Claxton, Daron Sharp, those two really aren't moving the needle that much for me. Um to the point where I'm like scared to put Obi and see what like he can do in like some pick and rolls or whatever. But um, yeah. Um, let's see. Yeah, Eric Fernandez says, "Why won't Thibs go small when the other team is raining threes constantly? This dude will never adjust. No wonder we're like 2-15 when trailing at the half." Yeah, I mean that just shows not really being able to adjust at least quick enough. Um, but yeah, I mean with the lineups that the Nets had out there, they were able to just play 4 out, 1 in, and just set some screens, get guys in get guys confused. Because I don't think we were switching tonight, right? Like,
We weren't switching, and then like they would just make the extra pass, and we're over helping on two in the paint. And
yeah.
then when they make the extra pass, we just have to rotate so fast, and they're getting open shots off of it. And that's like Bond coached circles around Tips, like circles around
Who
Tips.
doesn't coach circles around Thibs?
Apparently Joe Mazzulla, but like
Well, this guy loves Jalen Brown so much. So that's why.
I know, but like well, that quote was still wild, but like I love you, Jalen. I believe in you. That's what I tell Jalen Brunson every time he goes to the free throw line. But like, yeah, it was just we overhelp in the paint, open shooter, and then they are essentially rotating they're rotating two guys, and then like they're just passing and making the extra pass, and somebody's gonna be open at some point. So like it just makes this team's defense much more susceptible to being broken down by, and it's like that should not be the case. This team should not be so easily exploited defensively. And when teams are making threes like that, then like it's a wrap. And that's how you get to 22 threes. Aside from insane shot making, where we close on open shooters, we're closing out after two rotations. So
I mean, we're the Knicks. We should know guys are gonna shoot insane against us. Like that. That should not be
the thing is though,
like
that hasn't been the case on average the last 3 years. They've been a really good team at stopping the three, but when they don't stop the three, then like they just look pitiful.
yeah. I mean,
Like
but yeah,
this felt like the first Boston game where like they just hit all those threes and we had nothing to stop them because we can't shoot threes at the clip a lot of teams shoot threes at. Because we traded a lot of that 3-point shooting for Brunson, which was a good trade, but ultimately they need to recoup some of it back. What I'm saying is get the racist.
what?
Grayson Allen. It's
Oh
time.
my gosh.
It's time, dude. We need a white shooter. It's time.
Only white shooter good in my book is Steve Novak, man.
I know, but at least he's not coming up. He's not coming through that door.
He isn't, sadly. Steve Novak was definitely not scared to shoot, and he definitely wasn't scared to, he wasn't over here doing, drives and dishes. Like he knew what he was supposed to do, and he did it.
He knew his
Shout out
role.
Steve Novak.
Facts.
He is missed. He was born too early. Should have been born a couple years later.
He straight up like top 3 white boys in New York City: Eli Manning, Derek Jeter, Steve Novak.
That's a fact. Ace Bouchard says Grimes' defense has fallen off a cliff. Feels like he hasn't had a decent defensive game in a while, like not since the DeRozan game winner. Yeah, his defense has fallen off. I won't harp on it too crazy today, just because, I mean, he did get his eyes fried, by Kyrie, and anyone is, but also I just think that no one really had a good defensive game today, except for IQ maybe, and Hartenstein. Oddly enough,
Yeah.
but yeah, Grimes hasn't really had a really great defensive game. Maybe it's I don't want to say he's being tasked with too much.
Honestly, I walk that back. Thought he really played well against Donovan Mitchell. He played well against Donovan Mitchell on.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I will say that. But even before that though, I feel like there was a while. It's been a while since we could say Grimes,
clamped up some dudes. I feel like I didn't
Yeah,
think
I
he
mean the
played past.
Cleveland game, we were able to say, he did a great job on Garland um and Spider, but yeah.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though.
All right, let's see. Ooh, Eric Fernandez getting to a point that I was gonna say very soon. He says also, I want IQ starting over Grimes, man.
Will
Might be
never
time.
happen. Will never happen. Also, I don't think I want it to happen because I don't trust Tips to stagger minutes.
A lot of people think start having him start IQ would force him to stagger.
I agree, but like the problem is like I don't see a point where like IQ, Brunson, and Randall are all going to be on the bench. Like I just, it's less about IQ and more about the fact that like I think Tips is so rigid that he might do like an all like bench lineup, and I don't want that. I
Is that even
really,
possible? Because like we played 9 guys, so like that
dude,
wouldn't even be possible.
I don't even know, man. I don't trust Tips. Like he might do something like Deuce, Obi, Grimes, RJ, and then like Hartenstein. It's like he might put Deuce the backup point guard. I don't want that.
Ooh. I mean, the solution is very clear. You know, he's got to go, but that's not going to happen. So
I think
it's a very unrealistic, you know, solution to the problem.
I think what should probably happen more than like benching Grimes or like having IQ start over Grimes would be like I think they should just if they get someone like a Grayson Allen or a Gary Trent Jr., they should cut into Grimes minutes.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, you still want the defense on the court, but
Yeah,
like,
like
he's not going to stagger to like. Man, it's so hard with this coach to like really think of like plausible solutions and shit. Because it's like whatever you're thinking of, it's like it can easily like backfire or not happen the way you expect it to happen. So
yeah, I think he like instead of going like 38 minutes he played tonight, which is wild. Like I think keeping him around 28 to 30 would be really good. We also might have to think of the idea like he might just be tired.
could be. I mean, he's taking on a really hard responsibility of guarding the opposing team's best player or best players, depending on like if they have like the other day he was guarding Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland at various points. So it's like he has a very tough task ahead of him every night. Um so
Yeah, like
and with the minutes load, it's definitely not helping anything.
like I think there needs to be somebody to spell him because like he should not be playing as many minutes as he should, and that's not because like, he's not talented. It's just it's hard for a young player to go into Tibbs minutes like that, especially as a starter, because starters are going to play so many minutes on this team. So I would like to see him get down like maybe 8 less minutes a game. So if he's going to play like 38, seeing him at 30 would be better. If he's going to play like 36, seeing maybe around 28, I would try to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It could also play into like his shooting too.
Yeah, like I really,
The
I
legs
do
could be
think
shot.
fatigue might have a lot to do with like his play, his up and down play.
Again, a trade needs to happen. We gotta we gotta dispel some of these guys' minutes.
Yeah,
Um,
get me Gary Trent Jr., Grayson Allen, or like Eric Gordon. I don't
like
want
I've
to
seen
wait.
folks say like, oh, like the other day when Deuce was being aggressive, they're like, well, if Deuce is gonna be this aggressive, then let's just keep things rolling. It's like, no, it's not gonna
No,
happen because like Deuce needs to hit shots first of all. Like, I don't care how aggressive he is. If the shots aren't going in, that's not really helping anyone's minutes load or the team in general. So
yeah,
Um, yeah, things need to be done. Deuce should not be. I mean, Deuce is the ninth man, but like realistically, is he a ninth man? Like,
no,
no, he's not. So like, we need to find a way to actually get a ninth man on the court that is capable of, playing. Some people will bring up Fournier to me. Some people bring up Reddish to me. It's obvious this team is done with both of those players. So like, it's time for some fresh faces in the building, and in the rotation in general. So
yeah. Just get me Gary Trent Jr., man.
at the right price, I agree. Um, Eric Fernandez coming in hot today. Um, he says RJ missed Deuce in the corner, but I don't know. Deuce couldn't put it in a hula hoop, let alone a regular one.
Yeah, the funny thing is like he still hit that half court shot if it counted. Like, ugh.
So that feels like that's the epitome of Deuce's like Knicks tenure so far. It's like the one shot that he hit, it didn't even count.
Oh boy. Oh man. Poor Deuce. Poor Deuce.
All right. Ace Bouchard says he thinks the Knicks don't care in these games
I doubt
versus the
that.
Nets. I doubt that because like Julius like really takes these games seriously versus the Nets. So like that's one person I know for sure cares in these games, and they're on national TV, so you know he definitely cares. Um, and the Knicks they're always in these games with them too. So it's like if they didn't care, like I just don't it's hard to say that they don't care in these games versus the Nets. Like I think they do care. It's just that the Nets just have our number. Sometimes a team just has your number. Um, I mean, this year we have the Cavs number, except for that one game this year. And we almost beat them that game too earlier in Cleveland, where they hit like
22.
22 threes
Yeah.
or something like that. Um, but yeah. All right, let's see. BN agrees with us earlier, saying Grimes should not be playing more than IQ. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I posted a clip the other day of Zach Lowe giving some praise to Emmanuel quickly. So the IQ, you know, hype is becoming national now.
Which we'll take. We'll take some good IQ loving.
Here at the Quickland, we won. We won. All those jokes about us being the Emmanuel Quickly site, but we
Like
won.
and the problem is like now it's getting to the point where like people are like, oh, everybody wants Emmanuel quickly, but like the trade offers for Emmanuel quickly be dumb. Maybe like, oh, Caruso went a first for Emmanuel. Like Emmanuel quickly and a first for Caruso. Like, or like let's trade quickly for OG and Anobi. Like, are you guys? What are you guys on? Like honestly, the Bucks fan base is like in love with Emmanuel quickly right now.
Can
So
you blame them?
I can't blame them, but like they're not going to get him. That trade offer was like Grayson Allen and a second for Cam Reddish and Emmanuel quickly.
I mean, I can't blame them. If I, was another fan, if I was a fan of another team, I'd want Emmanuel quickly on my team. I mean, he is a plus minus god, and he does everything for the Knicks. Like as soon as he comes into a game, the tides turn for the Knicks immediately.
Yeah, like he came in twice for his shifts, and the team cut the lead significantly. So
I mean, what more can you say about this guy? I am so glad he's finally, getting that national recognition. And, he's putting it all together, helping the Knicks, win games and shit. Um, the best is yet to come. I mean, the three still isn't like he still isn't shooting the three as well as he could,
it's at
which is
34%.
something.
It's almost at 35. Like he's basically shooting three as well as he did last year. Like, and again, it's gonna go up. Like he's probably gonna end the season around like 37%, which is fine.
And he's still not even like shooting the crazy deep threes he used to shoot in his
And free
rookie year.
throws, and his free throws have been off.
So the best is yet to come. Hopefully, we can he can bring those back into the arsenal by playoff time, because I feel like that really adds a weapon and stretches the court for the Knicks. Like I think that's part of also what made that season so good for us, is that Emmanuel quickly was able to stretch the floor all the way out to like
30
30
feet.
30 plus feet out. So like that definitely helped with like spacing and shit. So if he's able to do that again, then that definitely helps the team with space and shit. All right. Um Let's see. Ace Bouchard says Thibs doesn't make adjustments. He's on vacation. In his mind, he's on a bitch sipping. He's on a beach sipping mojitos. I could never even imagine Thibs like on a beach doing anything of the sort.
I
I'd
feel
feel
like
like
he'd go to like Cape Cod or something. It wouldn't be like a beach. Like he'd go to like New Hampshire.
he'd be on like a he'd be on like a boat by a dock or some shit,
No,
like
not even
fishing.
that. Like he would just be eating clam chowder out of a Long John Silver's. I feel like that's a good tips day.
Oh man. Okay. So Jordan Bubs, he says we need bench help ASAP because Deuce hasn't been shooting well for about more than a month. But really, the question is, if Knicks got help from the trade deadline, I assume that TD means, would Dibs be able to use it properly? Your guess is as good as mine. I think we
Yeah,
all know the answer to that question.
to be
Oh,
determined.
to be determined, aka, you know, he won't. Like, it'll look good at first, because that's how things usually do. Um, with Dibs, or like even when you have a big trade, but like it will quickly turn sour once we realize like, oh, there's so much low hanging fruit that Dibs is not taking advantage of with wrinkles that he can add to this specific unit or this specific playset or everything else we always talk about with him.
Gotta love it, dude. Just gotta love it. Did we talk about the Joe Bub question? Who will be cheaper to acquire, Gary Trent Jr. or Grayson Allen, or Malik, more known for sleeping with Scottie Pippen's wife than as a basketball player, Beasley? Um, I would assume that Malik Beasley is the cheapest to acquire, but I think he's also the worst player. Um, Malik Beasley isn't good. He's 6'4", which means he's pretty short, so he can't really play the wing. He's a decent shooter. He puts them up, but like he's not as good of a shooter as you think he would be. I think he's hovering around 35%, 34% right now. I can double check that just to make sure, but and he's also shooting like he's just not. Yeah, okay, he's shooting 36% from three right now. They basically have him on a diet where like he's taking nothing but threes, and he'll maybe take like one or two 2 point pointers a game, and he's not good enough for 2 point shots to make it really worth it. I just don't buy him in that role. I would rather get a Gary Trent Jr. I think the team should just get Gary Trent Jr. because they can afford the luxury. They can afford it, and like you give up the Bucks pick or you give up one of the other protected picks, not the Mavs pick because that pick is going to be really solid. But if you could give up like say at most the Bucks pick for him, I would do that. I think he fits really well. He lets you play deuce as well if you really want to. And ultimately, I think that's how they should be operating.
Hawkeye 420's answer to Jordan Bub was they all might be unreasonable offers. Jordan, he gives the Masai Ainge and a Bucks championship contender as his reasoning why. Very solid reasons, especially with Masai and Ainge, because Masai apparently wants like 5 first-round draft picks for every single player on the team, despite
which
them
is
being under 500 with
which is,
all this glorious talent that they have.
which is ridiculous, man. Like, dude, who the hell? Like, that whole team is supposed to be so good, and yet they're 11th place. Like,
all these players worth first-round picks and can't even get to 500. Wild to me. Wild to me. I mean, I imagine the Knicks players' values are double that, being on a winning team.
yeah, Julius Randle's flirting with All NBA right now. He should definitely be worth at least like a Gobert package.
Yeah, why not? I mean, Bulls want 2 first-round picks for fucking Alex Caruso. What has this league turned into? This league's such a joke. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. This league is hilarious. That's one thing that you can always count on with this league. So Eric Fernandez, he talks about I guess his reasoning for wanting to start IQ. He says, I think starting IQ and then subbing him or Brunson out partway through the first for Grimes would work. Then Brunson slash IQ comes back to start the second and run the bench. I mean, that's the most ideal way of a running that situation. I just don't know if Thibs would do it because Thibs
Yeah,
has been the person to not use the most ideal lineups
yeah.
and situations.
I just did not buy him being able to make it work, which is why like I would just like even if it might be detrimental, like I think starting Grimes is probably saving tips from himself.
Yeah. That's probably what like the front office instructed. Because they have made some orders before. All right.
Yeah, with the Sims, with the Crime starting as well, so they've made some orders, but I wonder how much like I don't think they really made like rotation minutes orders, so that's gonna be a harder sell for me.
Hawkeye for 20 says, I've tried to back Obi, but that was rough. At some point, Obi needs to be held responsible for his own opportunity, which sucks because Thibs is a big issue.
Bingo. Keep telling you guys, like at some point, like I truly believe this in the NBA. Like talent matters. If you're talented, you will figure it out at some point. There's no NBA player who's ever like slipped through the cracks and somehow all 30 NBA teams missed out on like an all star. Like it's never happened. So with Obi Toppin, like yes,
So
he's
you're
always
saying Alonzo Trier is like not like the man who was promised?
I know, right? But like at some point you just like you have to acknowledge the fact like the reason why Obi Toppin isn't worthy of more minutes and is not getting more minutes and doesn't deserve more minutes realistically is because Obi Toppin is just not that caliber player yet. And when he breaks through, you'll know, but I don't know if he's gonna break through. So it's unfortunate, but it's also like a reality of how good he is and how much he benefits this rotation.
I still think he's being underutilized.
I agree with that, but I also at the same time I'm like I don't know how much more you can utilize him because like he has a specific niche and realistically better players on the team themselves already can like fit his niche. So
I mean, he's shown shit though. Like it's not like I mean, he showed shit just the last what was it, the Raptors game
I
and
know, but like we're talking about flashes for a 25-year-old.
I'm
So
not gonna
that's reality.
I'm
Like we
not
don't know.
gonna I'm not gonna be too harsh on him just yet, especially, you know, being that he was also out for like what was it, a month or so. So I'll give him his time. Because I think his ramp up is obviously different because he's not getting like to he's not getting to play as much to ramp up to. So I'm gonna give him his time. We'll see how things look within the next month or two, especially if a trade happens. That can also change the way um, he's utilized again. All right, let's see. R says, if we get Gary Trent Jr., how would you approach the draft, and how do you think the Knicks would?
I still think they keep both picks, and I still think they go for like a wing and a forward. I think Obi Topping is traded. I think um, they take one of the better wings in the draft, and I think like they might just take a forward. I don't think they go developmental either. I feel like they get guys who just like come in maybe older and can like play immediately if need be. I think they just want to rebuild their depth. The philosophy of this front office has been get upperclassmen who project well, um, shooters, and they don't have. They're kind of missing that, and I feel like this draft has like a lot of those types of players, especially in the back half of where they're going to be picking. But yeah, I don't see them going for like a trade up. I don't see them trying to like I think they just take the depth.
Okay. I am not someone who is fond of any draft prospects or anything like that. I watched like my first college basketball game of the season today, and it was a blowout. So, yeah, I cannot answer this question.
You're not watching so
uh,
much. It's not worth it.
yeah, it's a very nasty product to watch. People who watch college basketball like for fun are sick. Besides March Madness. All right, Hooker for 20 says, ask, has Obi ever done any work in the post? Isn't that who he was in college? I don't think so.
He did.
Um,
He did a ton of work in the post. He
oh, he
just
did.
he cannot post up the NBA. He's not strong enough.
Hmm.
Like you watch Obi Toppin in the post, and it was like he's 3 years older than dude, and he's playing at a mid major. Like it was never going to work in the NBA because I keep saying this. He doesn't have the ass for the post. Uh, like he just does not have that level of like the center of gravity for the post. He can't back dudes out. Like I saw Peyton Pritchard lock this dude up in the post. You're not getting post touches with Obi.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's part of the reason why a lot of got people just like use him in pick and rolls, um, because either use the rim gravity or just find a way to get him going downhill. That's what a lot of people like have been advocating for him on the Knicks, myself included. The Knicks have mainly used him as someone who is a spacer. It has worked sometimes. It has not worked a lot of other times. Um, so yeah, that's where we are right now. Celtics game is so nasty. Um, but yeah, Knicks next game versus the Lakers, who are currently playing the Celtics. The Lakers have finally gotten healthy. Lonnie Walker and Anthony Davis have returned for them. Um, it's very convenient how these teams they always get healthy right before they play the Knicks. Hilarious, right? Um, but yeah, we play them next. It's gonna be very interesting. LeBron is going for that record. He will not get it versus the Knicks unless he like absolutely goes like Wilt Chamberlain on us, scoring like I don't know however many points he needs left.
I'm not putting it
Um,
past him. Not putting it past him, dude.
I mean, as of heading into this game versus the Celtics today, he needs 158, and he plays the Knicks after the Celtics.
He
Or
will
no,
drop
he plays the
120.
Nets, and then he plays us.
Yeah, he's gonna drop 120 just against us, just to break the record, dude. I don't. That man's gonna be chucking his head off.
I mean, I also would not put it past that to happen to us either. It's just the Knicks thing to do. I mean, look what happened to us today. Of all these guys shooting all these threes, and Kyrie just goes off for like 20 in the quarter. Classic Knicks shit. But yeah, we play the Lakers next. Lakers have been a mediocre team all year. Um,
They'll find it against us. Like Anthony Davis is gonna start for that game, dude. Like literally, like he's been coming off the bench these last 2 games. He's gonna start against us because they're gonna be like, he suddenly feels healthy or whatever. Um, like yeah, Lonnie Walker's back. I think we win that game, but still, like, God, man, it's gonna be so annoying to play that game. Well, I don't think we played them fully. Have we played them fully healthy? I'm not sure. No, we did. We played them last year fully healthy when they had LeBron and Anthony Davis. So
yeah, that
that'll be
was the game
interesting to see.
that RJ had his
36.
his signature clutch moments versus the Lakers, the dunk and then the three special
I will say
times.
though, like that's probably one of the worst shooting teams in the league against us. So if they go off for like 23s, you know why?
Well, they definitely will go off for all their threes. I mean, Lonnie Walker will start hitting a bunch of threes. Um,
LeBron.
Russ will hit
Anthony,
like two just for good measure.
stop,
I'm
bro. If
telling
Russ,
you,
if Russ hits threes, at that point, like I'm over it.
Thomas Bryant is gonna have like an out of body experience versus us. Jeff was giving him props the other day, so he's gonna go off against us.
If the Lakers go off for three against us, then at this point,
Rui is gonna go off for like 15 off the bench. calmly.
You know what? I can see that happening regardless. He just won't take any threes doing it.
Or he just, it might be all threes. It might just be like 5 threes where he just turns to a sniper versus. Well, honestly, Knicks versus Lakers. Knicks, I mean, they should win this game. Um, the Lakers aren't a good team, like despite what this star power says. Um, but yeah, I mean, again, it's the Knicks. They're very unpredictable. They just beat the Cavs and the Celtics, and then they shit themselves versus the Nets. So you never know with this Knicks team. You never know.
Story. That's the story of this team. Who shows up? What version of the Knicks team shows up that day?
Um, Hawkeye for 20 asked earlier about Obi. He says if we cut more often, wouldn't the offense, let alone Obi, be way more effective? Yes, but we have this coach, so we will not cut at all unless your name
Yep.
is Quentin Grimes.
He'll cut some player. He'll cut Obi. He's not gonna cut, but he'll cut Obi. I feel like if you gave Tibbs like personnel decisions, like he would legitimately cut Obi.
He would cut a lot of people. He would cut. I think he'd cut. Um,
He would be starting Rose right now.
he'd cut IQ.
No,
I
stop.
think he would.
He would not cut IQ, man.
I think he would.
He loves IQ like a son, like a legitimate bastard son.
No, he loved him so much it took him like almost everyone dying and being like crippled to like start.
Hey, man. Sometimes we need to lose our way to find our way home.
Nah, he hates him. He'd cut him. He'd cut Cam Reddish for sure.
Yeah, I would cut Cam Reddish too. I don't blame him.
Oh my god,
Don't worry, he'll be a buck next week.
a buck. All right, I don't see that happening. I think. I don't know where Cam ends up. Honestly,
I think it's like at least we know he's getting traded for something. So
a
like
bag of chips.
I mean, sure, but like at least we know he's gonna get traded. So
It's just a matter of where. Anyways, I think we end things off here. I don't really want to talk about this game or this team much more on a weekend. Thankfully, there is no game tomorrow before I go to work on Monday, so they can't ruin the rest of my weekend. Um, but yeah, shout out to everyone that tuned in. Shout out to everyone that left a comment. Um, Make sure you guys like, subscribe. We are on our way to 1K subs. So all that you do helps with the YouTube algorithm, getting us out there more. We'll be back on Tuesday, I believe. Right? That is our
yeah,
next game.
yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday. So we get a bit of a break these next couple days with the Knicks.
Finally.
But yeah, we'll be back on Tuesday after the TNT game. Oh, great. We're on TNT again. We get to hear Charles
Oh
Barkley and
boy.
Shaq talk about the Knicks. Fucking hate hearing them talk about the Knicks.
Also, I'm pretty sure we get announced. I'll be here about the All Star team Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
So Julius Randle should be being we should know. Yeah, February 2nd. So that'll be fun. Maybe Jalen Brunson gets in as well.
Maybe we get 2 All-Stars. So yeah, shout out to everyone that tuned in. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll talk about all Knicks related stuff, All-Star reserves, any other trade rumors that come out because the trade deadline is fastly approaching, as we are quickly heading into February very soon. So we'll have all that for you guys on Tuesday night. Hopefully the next win versus the Lakers on TNT. So, Charles and Shaq can like say something positive for once about our players. But yeah, everyone have a great night and enjoy some football tomorrow.